there's no gaps or outliers. And then letter D. Let's see what letter D says. Letter D says, what proportion of shoes are $150 or more? Well, I can grab these 3 bins and add them up, and that would give me what proportion is $150 or more. So 6 plus 4 plus 2, and that's 12 out of 250. That gives me about 4.8. Are above $150. This one just, we said that that it was skewed. I forgot how to spell skewed. I'm running out of time, so it's starting to get stressed out a little bit. Skewed. Right. Is about 60, or, well, they said 65, so I'll go with theirs. About 65. Inner quartile range, 60-ish. Okay. I think that's enough for that one. And then we got our 4.8 for letter D. Letter E says, what a problem. Letter E says, calculate an estimated proportion of shoes that cost between 50 and 100. So it's kind of weird because it's like 30, 40, 50, 60. It's like 30. So it's kind of like part of this bar. Well, here, let's draw it. So here's $50 right here. I'm trying to find the shoes that are between 50 and 100. At least I have this nice graph. So it's like, we can't really use a normal distribution model on this because of the skew. It's kind of skewed, you know, it's not exactly bell-shaped. But they're saying like right here, where between these 2 lines, about what percent of the data is there. So I know it would include this whole bar, which is 2.4%, and then maybe I'll just take some off of this bar and some off of this bar. So 2.4 plus maybe, let's say, take about 10%, or what's about half of 26%. We'll just take like 10% off there. 12. I'm going to say about 22%. Because you're kind of guessing. Let's see what the book does. Oh, they got more. So they got using 1/3 of the interval and 1/3 of this other interval. These are the 2 intervals that we were looking at right here. They're saying you can do it like this. Oh, I see. 1/3 of 67, because that was this first interval, plus 60, because this bar right here had 60 in it, plus 1/3 of this other interval. See, remember we cut them? And then they just divide it by 250, and they got about this much. And then letter F finally says, calculate an estimated mean price for a pair of shoes. Assume every pair of shoes in each dollar interval is valued at the middle price for that interval. So I'm just going to show you what they did. We know that to get a mean, it's like an average, and you add them all up and divide it by how many there are. We know that there's 250 shoe prices, and they're saying to do our estimate, we're just going to take the middle price. Like, you know how this first bar, it's between 0 and 30? So that's where I'll put this back down so you can read it better. That's why they grabbed this 15, is because the first interval was between 0 and 30, and this one came from the 30 to 60, and then if you see what I'm saying, they take they take the middle part of each of these bars, and they're multiplying by how many of the shoes there are, because if you remember this had the number of pairs. So see what they're doing here? So these price numbers come from the intervals, and then these other numbers come from how many shoes were in that interval, and they add them all together and divide them by 250, and they got $70.80 was the mean price. If anybody knows how to get this, how to do a problem like this on Desmos, please share that with me. It kind of looks like they wanted you to actually do this by hand, because I see all these calculations. They wouldn't have these here if you wouldn't have had to calculate them by hand. So that's why I made this video.